888-848-3386.
You are listening to the show that is all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. And small business, entrepreneurship. We're talking to somebody who is an expert in those areas. We're talking with Dick Smith, who is one of the Chicago chairs at Vistage. Dick, welcome to the program. Welcome to Get Down to Business.
Well, thanks so much for having me, Shalom.
So, Dick, you're one of the guys that when I post on Facebook, and that's a friendly plug that anybody can follow me, Twitter, Facebook, all that sort of good stuff. You're one of the folks that when I post your name, a lot of people know you. You've helped a lot of small businesses, which is awesome. So you are a Vistage chair. Before we talk about what that means, tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up getting to that point.
Well, it's a great question. I am what I consider a dyed-in-the-wool entrepreneur. Actually had a little stint here and there working for a corporate concern, decided I couldn't work for anybody else. And so I've had probably 7 or 8 different businesses, including this Vistage chairing that I do now. Actually, I was a member of a Vistage group for 11 years before I sold my business, and then later they came back to me and said, hey, would you like to chair a Vistage group? And so I asked what every good entrepreneur asks right away. I said, well, how much does it pay?
There you go.
And they said, it doesn't pay very much. That's why we're coming to you. You've made a lot of money in your career, and you don't need to work, so why don't you work for some fulfillment, which is what I signed up for.
And then he promptly said yes.
I've got a ton of fulfillment, I can tell you.
That's fantastic. So you help a lot of people. So tell us what your role as a Vistage chair means, and what is Vistage? Some of our listeners might be familiar, but probably more are not.
Yeah, you're right. Your guest just before said he was a member for quite a number of years, and of course Bruce Leon, our sponsor, is a member of Vistage. The organization dates back to 1957 when Bob Norris in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, looked out his window and said, hey, there's a bunch of other smokestacks just within eyesight of here. I wonder if those businesses are having the same problem that I'm having, or problems, I should say. And I wonder if we got together, if we could help each other solve our problems and get to the next level. And with that, he birthed the Peer Advisory Group. Some near 60 years later, we're at 18,000 members worldwide. We have just over 1,000 here in Chicago. There's about 30 people that do what I do, which is Vistage chairing. So what the Vistage chair is there for is to really coordinate the full-day meetings that the groups have, and, of course, facilitate those to make sure that I call it herding cats, that everybody gets their fair share and gets a lot of value out of it. In addition to that, most of us are coaches. Actually, we all coach our members to some degree or not. So I'll spend 2 hours a month with each of my members finding about their business, what are they stuck with, what do they need help with, and then we usually try to tee that up at the group meeting and then get the group's counsel for whatever their issue happens to be. So that's a big part of it.
Is there a specific area that you sort of claim to be the guru of? I noticed that you are an excellent communicator, and it sounds like you've spent a lot of your career dealing with communications. What's the area that you think, gosh, you can help a lot of businesses with?
Well, that's a great question. Actually, as a Vistage chair, we're really not supposed to give advice, believe it or not. We are really coaches, and coaches really don't dispense advice as much as we use the Socratic method of problem solving, asking our members, what's going on in your life? What are your biggest concerns? What is the hurdle that you can't get over or unstuck from? And let's tee that up. Let's make sure we have the right issue, and it's not just superficial. And then let's bring that to the group, or let's bring resources around that to help you solve that problem.
That's great. And many of your Vistage members are likely CEOs. I'm assuming CEOs are in some leadership position within their companies. Would that be correct?
Yes, most of our Vistage. We do have groups for C-level executives and entrepreneurs who are entering a business world, but my groups are all chief executive level. At least president, CEO have some P&L responsibility.
So let me ask you the million-dollar question, leader or manager?
Oh, great question. Well, that answer is pretty obvious as far as I'm concerned, and that's leader. And it's difficult to be a good leader, and that's what we work on. We work on trying to develop our members into better leaders who then make better decisions and ultimately get better results. So leadership is where it's all about. People don't like to be managed; they like to be led, and that's kind of our mantra.
And is that a skill that comes naturally to let's talk about you. Did that come naturally to you, or was there one defining moment that sort of helped you become the leader who you are. You lead, you facilitate Vistage groups, you bring people together, and as you said, it's not just about providing advice, it's about coaching.
That's exactly right, Shalom. I feel very strongly that a good leader gives. Leaders give and givers get. And a leader has to coach his people, not telling them what to do, but asking them what they think they should do in that role. And how well have you thought that through, and what are the consequences if that doesn't work? This is how we lead people to grow them personally and professionally. If you're telling them what to do as a manager, you never grow them, and therefore the enterprise gets stagnant.
Interesting. So obviously a question that many of our listeners have is, are they a good fit for a Vistage group? Is there one profile that you could sort of outline of who would be a good fit, who would benefit from being a part of Vistage?
Another great question. I've said to a number of people, I've never met a leader of a small to mid-sized business that couldn't benefit from Vistage, with this exception. We want lifelong learners. Know-it-alls don't work in our groups. They have to bring their vulnerability eventually to the table. They have to feel that they're safe in a safe environment. We don't allow, by the way, any customers or vendors in the same group. So it truly, in a 12 to 16-person peer advisor group, there is no conflict of interest. So, nobody has got any vested interest in the answer we're going to help to find for that member.
So it's a safe zone.
Very safe.
And confidentiality is something, I'm assuming that there's sort of a code of ethics or a code that's written in advance?
Yes, that's our number one tenet is confidentiality. We call it the Vegas rule. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Right?
What happens in Vistage stays in Vistage. That's fantastic.
Correct.
We're talking with Dick Smith, who is a Chicago chair of Vistage. Dick, tell us a little bit about the best advice that you've gotten from some of your members. You mentioned that you don't accept know-it-alls. Tell us what you've learned along the way.
Well, I guess I learned a long time ago that I'm not as smart as I think I am, and I've often said that when I've learned everything there is to know, that's when I'm going to retire. Hopefully that won't be till after 100 plus, maybe 103 is what I'm shooting for. But the best advice, I guess, way back from when I was a kid, I learned early on that if you're really passionate about doing something, if you really love whatever it is you're doing, you'll probably get very good at it. And when you get very good at it, people will throw money at you. And so I said, even last night at a college function at Elmhurst College we were attending, I said to a young student who just graduated, find something you're really excited and enjoy doing on a daily basis. And if you do, you'll never have to go to work a day in your life. And that's great when you get up in the morning. It's not all going to be panacea every day, but when you really enjoy what you're doing, honestly, you get better at it. And when you get better at it, people throw money at you.
That's great.
The problem is most kids, they want to get paid right out of school a big sum of money, not to make an overgeneralization, but give me the money first, then I'll show you what I can do. And it just doesn't work that way. It works the opposite.
Dick, any really funny stories of folks that have come to you, maybe not in in your Vistage capacity, but people that have come to you and just thought that they really already know it all and thought that they want to be a part of something that you're doing for whatever it is, but they clearly were not a good fit. Don't name any names, but any really funny stories?
Well, yeah, it's hard to single one out, but quite often I'll run into prospects that I know right off the bat won't work, won't fit for a lot of reasons. First of all, I want people that are givers, because as I said, when leaders give and givers get. So when they show up and they want to help other people, then other people want to help them. That's the law of reciprocation, right? And that's what I'm looking for. Lifelong learners, people that don't believe they know it all, people that, in fact, actually think that what they know may not hurt them. It's what they think they know that just ain't so.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Great advice from our friend Dick Smith. Dick, I know we're going to have you back on real soon to continue this conversation, talk more about business advice, talk a little bit more about Vistage, which is such a fantastic resources for folks at the C-level, and looking forward to continuing that conversation. But Dick, for the moment, how can people get a hold of you?
Well, you can get to our website at www.vistage.com. There's all kinds of general information there. In Chicago, if you'd like to get a hold of me, I'd be happy to respond to an email at dick.smith@vistagechair.com.
Dick.Smith@vistagechair.com. Dick, we appreciate your time, your advice, and your information, and I know we'll be sharing some more of those funny stories, but I think the key bit of advice is you give and you get. That holds true regardless of who you are as a professional, regardless of where you are at professionally. Really good advice. So, Dick, thanks for your time. Get Down to Business is brought to you in part by Everett Wealth Solutions, a registered investment advisor and financial planning firm, a fiduciary advisor that helps you create your personal wealth. Talk to my good friend Chris Everett at Everett Wealth Solutions. You can find them online at everettwealthsolutions.com or call 708-771-7777. It's such an easy phone number, 708-771-7777. After the break, we're going to be talking about something that some people might want to ignore, but it's tax season. We're going to be talking with Cheryl Ross of BDO about tax tips. Don't touch that dial.
When the Prime Minister